Hi guys, it's Chris here from the Batty Belfry. I am jumping on here today to talk to you about slip stitches and the versatile things that you can do with a slip stitch. They are not just for joining your rounds on hats or baskets. And I am here to teach you a few really neat things that you can do with a slip stitch. And I just found some of these out myself, and I've been crocheting for 30 plus years. So it was really exciting to me when I found out some of these things that you can do with a slip stitch. But before I get started, let me start off by saying, like I always do, that this is how I crochet. It is in no way representative of the entire crochet community. We're all artists and we develop our own very specific way of creating. However, there are some basic standards in our community, and that's what I'm here to teach you today. That being said, I'm located in the southern United States and I will be speaking in U.S. standard crochet terms. So, okay, let's get started on slip stitches. I had no idea that you could make something like this with a slip stitch until, gosh, I don't know, 6 months ago. So I went 30 years before I realized that you could make this fabric. Look how amazing that is. All this is a front loop only slip stitch. I will do a couple more rows. Now this takes a very long time to do. It is a very slow going process. So just a slip stitch, front loop only. That's all you do, and it it's kind of fiddly to get in all these stitches because it is just slip stitches, so they are a little more tight than you're used to with, your single crochets or your double crochets, or however you are going across rows or around hats typically, or around your projects. It does make it a little more slow going than your typical crochet, but look how beautiful this is. I have started doing actually rows of these in stitch counts of 10 like I'm doing right now, and putting edges on cuffs for cardigans and sweaters, and around the necklines. You can use this for going around the bottom edge, the cuff edge. You can even do pockets out of this. It is a very dense yet stretchy stitch. So just so you know about it, I want everybody to know about this stitch because I am super excited about it. That is something that you can do with a slip stitch. And I am going to show you a nice little way. Oh, before I forget, let's just show you what happens when you actually do a single crochet around the edge, because you will, if you're going to use this for the edge of a sweater or the edge of a hat, you will have to put a single crochet in there, and it does stretch the fabric out just a little bit on the edge. So here I will show you where I put my hook in this. So this is a every 2 row. If you want it to be even like that and not stretch it out, you go around your project with your single crochets to make your nice little edge so that you can attach it every 2 rows. Now, if you do every 1 row, and if you've been crocheting for a while, one is not better than the other. This is a just however you do it kind of thing. I do it differently in different projects, and it's really hard to find that other place in there, and again, if you've been crocheting for a while, you know that there is no way to go around the edge of your project well. It's hard to figure out your spots that you're going to want to use, and to consistently do that around the edge of a project is it takes a while to get that down well. So I don't know if you could see that exactly where I was going in there, but that's how I go around the edge when I want every single row to have a crochet stitch in it to attach to my other fabric that's going to be up here. And sometimes I do want that because I'm going to need more stitches here on this piece of fabric so that it matches the number of stitches that are going around whatever edge I'm attaching to. If that makes sense. Sometimes you don't want so many fewer stitches here, and sometimes it's nice to have a little bit stretched out here so that your cuff kind of looks like it's hugging at the end down here. I really like doing that on cardigans so that it's stretched out here where it meets the arm material, and the cuff material just kind of snugs down here at the bottom. So that's that. Now, another thing that I do a lot of is I take a fingering weight yarn and I will do across the top or the bottom edge of a lot of my projects. I will do just a slip stitch edging on them. I think it makes them, kind of fancy, and it's really weird for me to be jumping around the edge of my camera here, so this may be a little hard to show you guys, but that is how I do a slip stitch on the edge. Oh my goodness. This is also a very splitty yarn, the blue is, that I'm working with. So it's a little harder to do because when you do a slip stitch here and not a full top stitch that you may be used to, you're actually having to go from, oh gosh, that's almost not in the frame. You're actually having to go from the bottom down here. There's no yarn tail up here for you to hold in your hand and draw from to do your stitches. You just kind of have to blindly, especially if it's in the middle of a project, because sometimes I do these edges, up in this area on a project, and you've just kind of blindly got to go in there and feel around for your yarn on the underside of your fabric. But it can be done, and it's beautiful when you do it, when you take the time to actually do that. So there, maybe you can see it now. I've actually got it in the frame a little better. So again, this is one of those things that takes a while. It's beautiful when it's done, but it does take you a minute to get your flow down and get the hang of it. What that does with this type of material, because this is so stretchy, if you put a slip stitch across the edge down here, you are going to take all of that stretch out because it's a slip stitch. So there is no stretch in this direction anymore. You've still got all your nice lovely stretch up here, but it takes all the stretch out there. And sometimes you need that. There's a lot of projects where you are going to need that. So that is a good trick to know. Now I am going to pull this slip stitch out of there, put this kind of to the side, and we'll show you another neat little, this is just a single crochet little swatch that I did. Now, before I said, you know, you don't have a tail up here when you are doing your slip stitch across the top, but that was just for doing the slip stitch like I just showed you. Here is another way to do a slip stitch across the top. It leaves kind of two little rows, and I'll show you what happens. You just keep going back and forth, pulling those slip stitches up, and again, doing an edge slip stitch anywhere in your project takes all the stretch out of it. And I love that because sometimes I like to do crazy, really loose stitches on things that actually need to have a good stability. I will go around necklines like this a lot so that over the years you don't lose your shape in your project. You want to create heirloom projects. You don't want something that's going to rip up and not be worth anything too quickly. So there is what it looks like when you do it with your yarn at the top. And I know it's kind of hard to see that second row that is in there. It's because you're pulling it across the top. You can take that and run it more through the middle, and you will get like your loops down here and your lines up here. If you pull them apart, you can set them on one side or the other of your stitches. Without getting too long, I'm not gonna do that on this video, but if you're watching this video, you know enough about crochet and slip stitch that you're going to be able to try it out on your own. So, and that's really all there is to it. You just I do a bunch of top stitching with slip stitches because it adds something that you might have a bland, boring project, and you add just a slip stitch to the top of it and it looks amazing. You can also do splitty yarn, boy. You can also do a single crochet across the top of your projects like this to add something there, but that will add more of a ridge. I like the slip stitches a lot more in most of my projects because you are not going to get a big ridge on there. You're just going to be able to attach another yarn in there with that yarn. You can actually see the two when you take it across the top like that, and you can pull it over top of your stitch. But anyways, so there are a few things that you can do with slip stitches. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are doing any of my patterns from my Etsy store, you are, if you're doing a cardigan or a sweater especially, you are probably going to be doing this as an edging. So I hope that this helped you to watch me do it in person. If you have any questions, please ask me below. I would be more than happy to help you out. I want everybody to enjoy crochet as much as I do and have a great time with it. So thank you so much and happy crochet.